there's gotta be something better than this thing. Oh, what is that? A Springfield Hellcat Pro Comp. There's a comp, like a chunk port right into the barrel, and not some goofy looking RDP comp on this thing. Now that is what I'm talking about right there. And we're gonna get all into this thing and how the all new Springfield Armory Hellcat Pro Comp shoots. But more importantly, guys, you'll see our new shirts here, which we'll be throwing out. We'll probably start selling these before too long. Hunt, fish, shoot, make gun reviews honest again. And that's just what we're gonna practice today. But we're gonna bring you a full review on the all new Springfield Hellcat Pro Comp. Let's get into that first magazine. Woo-wee, she shoots flat. We should probably shoot another mag just to make sure. Recoil reduction over the standard Hellcat Pro, probably about 30%, 20 to 30% overall feel. It takes a lot of that snap, that initial snap that you get out of these smaller pistols. Outside of that stuff, if you're not familiar with the standard Hellcat Pro in general, what they are is a 15 round capacity overall grip length. This here is a 17 round magazine, which they have. With the new pistol, you're gonna get one 15 round magazine and one 17 round magazine. You'll see it's also serrated, got some grip textures along it there, and index as well, and fits nice with the grip. Now I have large hands, so if you're unfamiliar with these pistols, full overall grip length, a lot like a Sig X Macro or like the new Shadow Systems CR920X. So you get a full grip on there, it's easier to shoot, but you're getting that 15 round capacity and a slim overall profile. Slide serrations on here, front and back. Nowadays, these ones, when they came out on the Hellcat so many years ago at this point, these were good. Nowadays, these Hellcat serrations they have on here, these are weak. They're not as good as what they used to be, you know, and I think that Springfield, with as progressive as they are, with coming out with new designs and things like that, I think you'll end up seeing that in the future. But overall, they're usable and they're serviceable. I just can't sit here and tell you that they're the most aggressive. On the bottom here, with the pick rail, it's kind of nice because with that pick rail, you can actually get in there and put a TLR 7A light on here and not have to use the sub model. The comp itself, I'd say the expansion chamber is about 1/4 of an inch. It is big. It's got a nice, good chunk out of it. If you're not familiar with a lot of the aftermarket stuff out there, a lot of times aftermarket shops, when they put a port or comp job on a pistol, this is what they do. And in particular, Monsoon Tactical here in Ohio, they do a chunk port, and this is identical, except you're getting this from the factory with that port or that chunk basically taken out of it automatically. It's very well machined. It looks good. Everything is coated in a nice black Cerakote here on this pistol. And on here, you'll see we have a Shield RMSC. These sights do not come with the pistol. But then with the sights on here, on the rear, you have a U-notch white outline sight. And then on the front here is like a neon green tritium lamp outline on here. So it's a good overall sight. I like these sights a lot on here. There's some folks that don't like them. I think some of that's personal preference, but for me, with these pistols and what they're designed for is like, let's say a CCW piece or EDC, I think the sights on here are perfect. Now for us, what's our history with Hellcats in general? One of our very first, let's say 5 guns we ever reviewed on our channel in 2020. So it's been a little while now for us, was a Hellcat standard model before they even had an optics cut. We bought that pistol, you know, made a review, we thought it was great. Since then, every single Hellcat model that's come out, we have shot well, and to this day, we haven't had a single Hellcat pistol from Springfield Armory that has malfunctioned or had issues. Andrew carried one very regularly for a very long time. For me, they're not really my personal choice when it comes to a carry gun, but they do a very nice job with how they shoot and how they feel in the hand. And there's a lot of people that are big fans. And I think that as we shoot this today, I think I'm gonna be able to prove it to a lot of folks that if you have a Hellcat Pro and you're like, man, I just wish there was a little bit softer shooting, this thing accomplishes that easily. It's readily and recognizable out of those first couple rounds out of the barrel. One finer thing to talk about, this pistol as it sits here for a comp pistol in its size range is $100 cheaper than a Macro, It's about $100 cheaper than the CR920P, and it's coming in about $700. So it's a little bit cheaper, and what you can almost guarantee when you're looking at MSRP versus street prices, you know, knock $100 off, and that's usually what you're gonna see out of the market. So that's good to see. Let's shoot this thing some more, stop talking about it, and then we'll give you guys, of course, our final thoughts at the end. But as it's shaping up right now, with just a few rounds down, this thing is a large improvement over a standard Hellcat Pro. A bunch more mags loaded up now in our Hellcat Pro Comp. Let's throw some more rounds down range. So for my large hands, I don't really have any issues like hitting the slide release or slide stop lever here on the Hellcat Pro series. And the comp here is obviously no different. So I have no issues with that. Now the triggers on these, they're not as fire point for the Hellcat Pro series in general. They're good, they're okay. But you know, ranking wise, you know, they're somewhere in between the crappy macro trigger and a well broken in Glock trigger. We're at about 10 yards now. Target's somewhat clean. Got like 2 hits out of the A zone so far here, but we're gonna run a build drill from the high ready. I'm gonna come from concealment now. I'm gonna do 2 to the A zone, basically the heart area here on our Achilles heel target, and then do 1 to the head. So 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. So 264, it's slow. What I'm noticing is the pistol really tracks pretty darn straight. We'll show you here. We'll go up on the target so you can see it a little bit on the end there. So we're back there. I'm at like 12 yards and I'm doing, you know, you see I still have all C-zone hits, which is good. I'm not gonna complain with that. I'm trying to, let's say, push the gas a little bit. And then you come up here and that was the one I threw out like I talked about. And these ones here, although not great, again, like I said, I'm pushing the gas a little bit. To slow down and make that hit would be easier. And the pistol, I've noticed it tracks really nice and straight overall, like that recoil cycle, how it comes back down into the target after that first shot. And really, even with, let's say, a less than perfect grip coming out of the holster when you're trying to be quicker, it still shoots and tracks well, which is nice. It's a big difference than shooting a regular Hellcat Pro, which I try to carry for a little bit because I like the overall capacity and the size and all that. It's just for myself, when I was shooting, I was like, this thing's just a little snappy. And so that's why for me now, I carry that CR920X that just came out because it just fits that nice roll in between like a Glock 19 size and a smaller compact size gun. So like this pistol though, how it shoots would make me think about maybe carrying something like it instead of like a CR920X. You know, the macro, this thing, you know, the new pistol coming out from Shadow Systems, no doubt about it, between the 3, you know, big manufacturers like that, they are dominating the compact or micro compact pistol game with how well these pistols shoot. They're really breaching that gap between a slimline pistol and a nice compact. So let's get out that regular Hellcat Pro. We'll line it up. We'll get you guys how they actually look under recoil and what the difference of them may be. And then for record shooting ammo wise today, we have some 124 grain cellular and bellet. All right, we're gonna get into recoil now. First things first, we're gonna shoot the standard Hellcat Pro. 17 rounds loaded up in both pistols. The Hellcat Pro Comp. Big difference. Not really even close. Again, I will stick to it and I will die on that hill. It's probably like 25%. 25% would be my best guess as to the overall recoil reduction. That combined with the overall grip length on here is a really nice combination, and it's a slim profile. Now what I've noticed is that when I'm shooting this pistol versus a standard Hellcat Pro, this thing just tracks better. Like that, finding that dot or that dot coming back into the sight picture when I'm shooting here on the target, getting that good target focus, I'm not really ever having to look for the dot really whatsoever with the Pro Comp. Standard Pro, I'm not really looking for the dot, I just know it's coming back. But seems like it just tracks so much faster. And in turn, with this one, although I was trying to maintain a certain fire rate for that total viewership there, this thing here, I could have shot it faster because that dot was coming back into the picture. So really, that's pretty sweet. We're gonna get into the trigger pull now and how this trigger feels on the Hellcat Pro Comp. How would you describe it before we get any further? It's got to be like close to 6 or 7 pounds. It's heavy on this. In fact, it feels heavier than our standard Hellcat Pro, but it's consistent, which if I get a consistent trigger, although heavy, it's still very shootable. So let's get into that. So the reason we like to shoot triggers on the range versus just showing them inside the studio is triggers, how they perform with live fire, feel different than dry fire. So right here, you have some take up and you're at like a firm, we'll call it a wall, but it's not the wall. So you got some take up now, and then it breaks. Not really a defined wall in there. There was some creep after I hit that initial, let's say, so that take up right there, and I mean, it is just straight firm right there. I mean, that is, now you get your creep. This should be the wall now. Yep, that's the wall. So there is a defined wall in there. You just gotta find it with every trigger. Again, we'll find that creep, little creep in there, wall, break, reset. It's audible, which is good for some folks. They really care about that. So right here, we're gonna go again, little creep, wall, break. So full take up, creep, wall, break. So, what I would probably tell you, although the trigger is heavy, it is predictable, which is good. That's what I want to say. I don't really like, the macro trigger is light, but there's just no predictability with SIG triggers. There is on the full-size ones, but the macro is just not so much. You just kind of push through a bunch of mush, and then maybe you'll feel it. You kind of feel like you're at the crisp, let's say breaking point. Now this, firm resistance after that take up, very firm. Like you're gonna think it's the wall, but it is not the wall. Then you got like an 1/8 inch of take up, and then a crisp breaking wall. But a lot of folks for a carry gun, they would prefer a trigger like this. I think that it's a safe bet for Springfield to go with a heavier trigger. So let's get into shooting this thing a little bit more, and I'll give you guys some final thoughts. That wraps it up for us. The all-new Springfield Armory Hellcat Pro Comp. This thing has a lot going for it. We'll start off with the 2 things that I find as drawbacks. Those 2 things are very minor, and by no means should they steer anybody away. The trigger on here is too heavy for me. It's on the heavy side. And the grip textures on the Hellcat pistols in general, I wish they were more aggressive. But overall, they're very usable. They work very well. Out of all the rounds I have out of that Echelon, they do work well. But this pistol and what it provides outside of a standard Hellcat Pro makes me think that it's almost like Springfield is basically taking the Hellcat Pro right out of the game. And if you're somebody who wants a good CCW or EDC pistol, the Hellcat Pro Comp is a much better choice than the standard Hellcat Pro. And again, I will reiterate this. Frankly, I'll be honest, you'd be dumb to pick the Hellcat Pro over the all-new Hellcat Pro Comp. But until next time, guys, let us know what you think. Get down in that comment section. Let me know how you disagree. Let me know how you think I'm an idiot. I really don't care. But next time, follow along with Hunt, Fish, Shoot.